Today, we're going to talk about how you can actually rebuild your body's energy right from the inside out using 4 specific foods you can find at pretty much any grocery store. So, let's dive right in.
Have you ever wondered about this? I mean, you see two people. They're both 65. They eat pretty well, they try to exercise. But one is just vibrant, full of energy. And the other? They're fighting off fatigue and that annoying brain fog. The real difference isn't what you see on the outside. It's happening deep, deep inside their cells.
You know why? Because by the time you're in your mid-60s, you can lose up to 40% of your mitochondrial function. Now, that's not about losing muscle or gaining fat. We're talking about the raw power of your body's energy factories declining. And that is the real reason you feel so tired.
This drop in cellular power? It's way more than just feeling worn out. It's actually the hidden source of chronic inflammation, that feeling of constant brain fog, and it really does set the stage for chronic diseases. But here's the really great news. This is something you can actually do something about.
So, what are we really talking about here? Let's make it super simple. Inside every single one of your cells, you've got thousands of these tiny little power plants. They're called mitochondria. Their entire job is to create the energy that lets your heart beat, your brain think, and your muscles move. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. As these little power plants get older and less efficient, they don't just, quietly fizzle out. They actually start to leak. And they release these little distress signals that your immune system sees as a constant threat. This is what creates something called sterile inflammation, inflammation without any infection. And it's the common thread that links together things like heart disease and cognitive decline as we get older.
But your body has this amazing built-in system for renewal, and it's controlled by 3 key levers. We can flip a master switch called PGC1 alpha. Think of it as the foreman on a construction site for new power plants. We can also trigger an energy sensor called AMPK, which is what tells your body, hey, we need more power. And we can turn on a process called mitophagy, which is like a specialized cleanup crew that hauls away the old, broken-down units. And the best part? We can pull all 3 of these levers just by eating the right foods.
Okay, so let's get practical. We're about to walk through 4 specific foods that act like a prescription you can fill at your local grocery store. This is all about rebuilding your cellular energy right from the ground up. First on our list is one of the most exciting foods in the world of longevity science, the pomegranate. It's not just some healthy fruit. It's a true powerhouse for cellular renewal.
So here's what's so cool about pomegranate. Your gut bacteria take compounds from it and turn them into this incredible molecule called urolithin A. What makes it so unique is that it does 2 things at once. It starts the cleanup of your old leaky mitochondria, and it signals for new ones to be built. It's a 2-for-1 deal. The dose couldn't be simpler. Half a pomegranate or just 4 ounces of pure juice every day. You can find Pom Wonderful at almost any big grocery store. The big mistake to avoid is buying a blend or cocktail that's full of added sugar. It has to say 100% juice. And a really critical warning, the juice is high in sugar, so if you're diabetic, you're much better off sticking with the seeds. And please check with your doctor if you're on statins or blood pressure meds because it can interact.
All right, next up is a favorite for a lot of us, dark chocolate. But listen, this isn't about grabbing a sugary candy bar. To get these benefits, it absolutely has to be at least 70% cacao.
There's a powerful compound in dark chocolate called epicatechin, and it is an absolute rock star at flipping those master switches we talked about to build new mitochondria. Get this, one study from UC San Diego showed it could increase mitochondrial volume by a staggering 41%. The dose is just 2 small squares a day. Look for brands like Lindt or Ghirardelli. But here is the critical mistake you have to avoid. Look at the label. If it says processed with alkali or Dutch processed, put it back on the shelf. That process just destroys the good stuff. And a quick warning, it does have caffeine, so if you have any kind of heart condition or arrhythmia, please check with your doctor.
Okay, let's move on to food number 3, fatty fish. We're talking about salmon, mackerel, and especially those small but mighty sardines.
So unlike the other foods that send signals, the omega-3 fats in fish are the actual building blocks. They get physically built into your mitochondrial membranes, making them more flexible, more efficient. One study even showed this led to a 31% jump in mitochondrial enzyme activity in just 12 weeks. The goal is a 4-ounce serving, maybe 3 to 4 times a week. Now the big mistake here is how you cook it. Frying fish in vegetable oil creates these harmful fats that completely cancel out the benefits. So you want to bake or broil it instead. And a really important warning,
If you're on a blood thinner like warfarin, you need to talk to your doctor because high doses of omega-3s can affect blood clotting.
And finally, our fourth category, leafy greens like spinach and arugula, plus beets. Their secret power comes from a compound you probably wouldn't expect.
These vegetables are packed with dietary nitrates. Your body converts them into nitric oxide, which is this incredible molecule that triggers mitochondrial growth and turns on your body's own master antioxidant system. A study from the famous Karolinska Institute showed measurable improvements in just 3 days. 3 days! Now this is crucial, so listen up. The #1 mistake is using antibacterial mouthwash. You need the good bacteria in your mouth to make this conversion happen, and mouthwash can slash the benefits by 60% or even more. And one other quick warning. For anyone with a history of kidney stones, you'll want to rotate your greens because spinach is high in something called oxalates.
Okay, so we've covered the 4 big food groups. But how do we actually make this fit into a normal, everyday life? Well, it's actually much simpler than you might think.
Let's just walk through a sample day. You could start by tossing some spinach into a morning smoothie or your scrambled eggs. For lunch, maybe a nice piece of baked salmon or some sardines on a salad. In the afternoon, you get your 2 squares of dark chocolate as a little pick-me-up. And then right before bed, a small glass of pomegranate juice to let your gut microbes do their thing overnight. See, this isn't some crazy extreme diet. It's just a few really smart additions to your day.
And you know, one of the best parts is just how affordable this is. The approximate weekly grocery bill for adding all these foods, especially if you're shopping at places like Walmart, Aldi, or Costco, is only about $25 to $35. That's some powerful, yet really affordable medicine.
All right, to wrap things up, let's make sure you actually get the results you're looking for. We have to go over the 5 most critical mistakes that can stop this plan from working.
First, being inconsistent. If you skip days, you break the signal to your cells. You really need at least 4 solid weeks to start seeing a change. Second, expecting a miracle overnight. Remember, you're changing your deep cell biology, and that just takes time. Third, picking supplements over real food. Whole foods have this amazing symphony of compounds that all work together. Fourth, those preparation errors we talked about. They honestly do matter a lot. And last but most importantly, please do not ignore potential drug interactions. You've got to check with your doctor.
So here's the bottom line, the most important takeaway from all of this. Your body already has the blueprint for renewal. The ability to build new, powerful mitochondria is literally written into your genetic code. It's not gone, it's just dormant, waiting for the right signals, the right inputs to be activated again. And you can start sending those signals today.
Welcome. Let's talk about why you might be feeling so drained all the time. And I mean really drained. This isn't just about being tired. It turns out there's this secret battle going on inside your body, literally, in trillions of your cells. And once you understand it, that's the key to getting your energy back for good.
So let's get right into it. Does this sound like you? You get what you think is enough sleep, you pound coffee all morning, but you're still just exhausted all the time? Well, you are definitely not alone. And believe me, there's a very, very real reason why. Yeah, I'm talking about that feeling, right? That deep, bone-weary exhaustion that just hangs over you. It's so frustrating. It feels like you're fighting this uphill battle against your own body, and you just can't seem to win.
But here's the twist. What if the real reason for all this isn't what you think it is? It's easy to blame your age, or your stressful job, or even just not enough sleep. But the true culprit? It's actually hiding in plain sight. It's buried in these little, everyday habits that seem totally harmless. Okay, so to really get this, we need to zoom in. I mean way in, down to the microscopic level, to meet the real power source inside your body.
All right, so inside almost every single one of your cells, and you have trillions of them, are these little guys called mitochondria. The easiest way to think about them, they're your body's power plants. Seriously, their whole job is to take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and convert it into the actual energy that runs you.
And when I say they're important, I am not kidding. Get this, mitochondria produce over 90% of the energy your body uses. It comes in the form of a molecule called ATP, and you can think of it like cellular gasoline. It powers everything, from blinking your eyes to thinking a thought. Without enough of it, you're just running on empty. So here's where it gets really interesting. Look at the difference. When your mitochondria are healthy, they're like these clean, efficient little engines. They produce tons of energy and you'll feel great, vital, resilient. But when they get damaged, it's like a rusty, sputtering engine. It doesn't produce much power and it kicks out a ton of toxic exhaust. In your body, this exhaust is called free radicals, and they don't just cause damage. They're a huge reason you feel so tired.
And this is super important. This goes way, way beyond just feeling tired. This damage kicks off a really nasty, vicious cycle. We're talking accelerated aging, and researchers have linked this mitochondrial dysfunction to pretty much every major chronic disease you can think of. Heart disease, diabetes, and even Alzheimer's. So yeah, the stakes are pretty high.
Okay, so what's actually causing all this damage to our little power plants? Let's break it down. We're going to look at 7 secret energy killers, the daily habits that are just hammering your cells.
All right, here's the list. Take a good look. Now, some of these probably aren't a huge surprise, right? We all know sugar and processed carbs are like throwing sludge into your engine. And chronic stress, that's like redlining your engine 24/7. But some of these are a little sneakier, like prolonged sitting. When you sit all day, you're essentially telling your body, hey, we don't need much energy right now, so your mitochondria literally start to weaken and die off. Crazy, right?
So, just for a second, be honest with yourself. Looking at that list again, how many of these are you doing? 1 or 2? Maybe 3 or 4? It's okay. Just take a quick mental tally. Okay, let's look at what that score might mean for you. If you're only doing 1 or 2 of these, hey, that's not bad, but there's definitely room to improve. But if you counted 3, 4, or even more, well, then it's really no surprise you're feeling exhausted. Your mitochondria are under some serious assault. And here's the real kicker. This is so important. These habits don't just add up. Oh no, they multiply each other's damage. Think about it. When you get poor sleep, what do you crave the next day? Sugar and carbs, right? When you're stressed out, it wrecks your sleep. It creates this perfect storm, a downward spiral, where the damage just piles up way faster than your body can ever hope to fix it.
But here's the good news. And honestly, this is the most important part of this whole thing. This damage is not permanent. Your body is incredible. It's designed to heal. By flipping these habits on their head, you don't just stop the damage. You can actually build new, stronger mitochondria. You can create an upward spiral of health. And this is your roadmap. It's the complete opposite of the other list. You're giving yourselves clean fuel, you're moving your body, you're managing stress. Let's look at a couple of these. Incorporate fasting periods. That sounds intense, but even just an overnight fast triggers this amazing cellular cleanup process where your body literally gobbles up old, damaged mitochondria to make room for new ones. And get morning sunlight. That's a huge one. It syncs up your body's internal clock, which means better sleep and more energy. See how it all connects? Better sleep gives you the energy to move, healthier food helps you handle stress, it all works together.
All right, so you're thinking, okay, I'm in. I want to make a change. But how long does it actually take to start feeling better? Let's look at a realistic timeline for what you can expect.
The best part is you don't have to wait forever to feel a difference. Seriously. Within just a few days of making some of these changes, you'll probably notice your brain fog lifting a bit. Within a few weeks, you'll start to feel like you're actually building up sustainable energy reserves, not just running on fumes. And over a few months, that's when the real magic happens. Your body starts to generate brand new, healthy mitochondria. You're literally rebuilding your energy-making machinery from the ground up.
So the bottom line is this. Your energy level isn't random. It is a direct reflection of your daily choices. Every single healthy choice you make is a vote for recovery. It's a signal to your cells to renew and rebuild.
So it all comes down to this. Right now, inside you, trillions of these tiny power plants are just waiting. They're waiting for the right signals from you to start repairing and rebuilding. The choice to send those signals, that's 100% yours. So, what are you going to choose?
Okay, let's be real for a second. If you're over 60, does this sound familiar? You get what feels like a full night's sleep, but you still wake up feeling like you're running on fumes. Well, that nagging fatigue is super common. But what if I told you the solution isn't at the pharmacy, but it might just be in your kitchen pantry? Today we are diving into 10 amazing foods that can literally help recharge your body's batteries.
It's so frustrating, isn't it? You're doing all the right things, but that internal battery of yours just seems to be stuck in the red. The real reason for this, it isn't just about sleep or stress. The answer is actually much, much smaller and way more profound. It's happening right now at a microscopic level inside every single cell in your body.
And here's the part that'll blow your mind. You see that huge number, 90%? That is how much of the energy that powers your entire life, everything from blinking your eyes to walking up a flight of stairs, is generated by these tiny little engines inside your cells. So it makes perfect sense that when these little powerhouses start to sputter, your whole body is going to feel it.
So, what do we call these incredibly important powerhouses? Well, let's give them a name: mitochondria. If you've ever felt like your energy just isn't what it used to be, this is where the real story starts. Getting to know these tiny structures is the absolute first step to getting your spark back.
I want you to imagine your body as this huge, bustling city. Every one of your cells is a building, right? And inside each of those buildings are thousands of these tiny power plants. Those are your mitochondria. Their whole job is to take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and convert it into something called ATP. And you can just think of ATP as the actual energy currency. It's the cash that pays for literally everything your body does.
Now, here's the crucial link to aging. As the years tick by, two things start to happen. We just have fewer of these power plants, and the ones that are left become less efficient. This decline, well, it's a huge reason for that classic feeling of fatigue, brain fog, and muscle weakness. But, and this is the really good news, this is not a one-way street. We can do something about it. And that brings us right to the solution, and it starts on our plates. We can actively fight back against this decline by giving our mitochondria the high-quality fuel they need to thrive. So let's kick things off with the foods that provide the absolute essential building blocks for these cellular engines.
First up, our building block group. We're talking fatty fish, organ meats, and eggs. I want you to think of these as the premium fuel and the repair materials for your cellular power plants. They provide the core components you need to build strong, efficient mitochondria.
So let's break that down. The omega-3s you get from fatty fish, they help keep the outer layer, the membrane, of our mitochondria flexible and working well. Then you have organ meats like liver, which are just packed with B vitamins and something called CoQ10, which is like the critical spark plug in the whole energy production assembly line. And finally, eggs. They give us choline and protein, which are the literal bricks and mortar for building and maintaining the mitochondria's structure.
Okay, next up we have the plant-powered boosters. Foods like leafy greens, beets, and broccoli do way more than just provide fuel. They've got these unique compounds that act like a full-on maintenance crew, protecting our mitochondria and, get this, they can even trigger the creation of brand new ones.
In this slide, it shows a perfect example of this in action with beets. So you eat them, and your body turns the nitrates in the beets into nitric oxide. Now, this molecule is awesome for improving blood flow, which means more oxygen gets to your cells. But here's the truly amazing part. Nitric oxide also sends a signal for something called mitochondrial biogenesis. I know, it's a mouthful, but it's just the scientific way of saying it literally tells your body, hey, build more power plants. How cool is that?
So, a quick recap of this plant power group. Leafy greens give us magnesium, which is like the key you need to unlock the ATP energy that our mitochondria make. Beets, as we just saw, are incredible because they stimulate new growth. And then you have cruciferous veggies like broccoli, which provides sulforaphane, a powerhouse compound that basically flips the master switch on your body's own internal antioxidant protection system.
Okay, so we've talked about foods that fuel and foods that boost our mitochondria. But there's a third piece of the puzzle, and it's just as important: protection. The next critical step is to defend these little power plants from all the wear and tear that builds up over time. And this group has some real all-stars. We're talking berries, nuts and seeds, extra virgin olive oil, and green tea. Their main job is to act like a security detail for your mitochondria, defending them from harmful byproducts of energy production and activating their growth signals.
Here is a fantastic way to think about it. You see, making energy also creates waste, in this case, something called free radicals. This quote just nails it. It's like a power plant that makes smoke, and that smoke can damage the plant itself if you don't control it. Well, foods that are rich in antioxidants, like berries, are what help clear that smoke out.
So let's dig a little deeper. Berries give us those direct antioxidants to clean up the smoke. Nuts and seeds provide vitamin E, which protects the delicate outer membranes of the mitochondria. The polyphenols in good olive oil help calm down the chronic inflammation that can cause damage. And then there's green tea, which has a unique antioxidant called EGCG. It's another powerful trigger that, just like the nitrates in beets, signals the body to build brand new mitochondria.
All right, so we've covered a ton of ground. How do we actually put all this together into a simple, actionable plan? Let's build your energy blueprint by taking a quick look at what to embrace and what to avoid.
You know, the contrast here could not be more clear. On one side, you have our mitochondrial friends, whole, nutrient-dense foods. And on the other side, you've got the foes, sugar, refined carbs, processed oils. These things create stress, they create inflammation, and they actively damage your cellular power plants. Swapping the foes for the friends is truly the single most powerful change you can make.
And hey, if you remember just one thing from all this, make it this slide. All 10 of these superfoods fit neatly into 3 simple actions: fuel, boost, and protect. Think of this as your energy cheat sheet. Look, you don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Just starting to sprinkle in more foods from each of these categories can make a really profound difference in how you feel every day. The big takeaway here is that you have so much more control over your energy levels than you might think. Those trillions of tiny power plants inside you are literally waiting. They are ready to be nourished, recharged, and rebuilt. So the only question left is, what are you going to put on your plate tomorrow to give them the fuel they really deserve?